It's almost a fool's errand at this point to try and find through lines year to year between teams, especially in the group of 5. This isn't the NFL light as much as the powers that be would like it to be. Players and coaches are pretty much free agents at the end of every season. This is college football in 2024. Your chances are disturbingly finite. You cannot be cute and you cannot play it safe. Every year you have one chance and you need to take full advantage of it or you'll be left with the buzzers. All of which leaves one burning question. What is Tulane in the grand scheme of things?
It cannot be overstated how earth-shattering Willie Fritz leaving Tulane for Houston was last year. For all intents and purposes, Willie Fritz was Tulane football. It was nothing when he got here, and it took him 7 years to get the infrastructure in place to build a Caleb Williams beating, no, I'm never gonna get over that, group of 5 contender. And now, a year after he and his team successfully ran it back all the way to repeat hosting of the AAC championship game, he was gone the moment he lost that game, like every group of 5 coach that's ever been good has done before him. And that created the most important decision Tulane's 1-week-old AD David Harris would ever Hey, are you even paying attention?
Sorry, boss. I was just admiring these words you've got sitting over here. This Tulane Chose Us.
Yeah, can you not look at that yet? That's actually a payoff for later in the video.
I mean, they're just 3 words.
Yeah, just trust me on this one, okay? There's a point to all this.
I don't get paid enough for this shit.
See, now you've made me lose my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Please help me welcome Coach Jon Sumrall.
Oh, yeah. I got a comment on last year's video saying I ended it too early before telling people who Jon Sumrall actually was, but I wanted to save it for now. Our guy, Jon Sumrall, got to start playing football at Kentucky in the very early 2000s, became a grad assistant for said team after that, and then became the defensive line coach at USD.
Wow, I can't believe I'm walking in the footsteps of Jon Sumrall himself.
Before becoming the co-defensive coordinator of Tulane University in 2012. Now, what you have to know about Tulane in 2012 is they were just like the Tulane of every other year except 1998. No administrative support, no student section, playing in a cavernous, empty Superdome, losing in the hopelessly irrelevant Conference USA. It was a dumpster fire. Was Jon Sumrall's defense the lone bright spot on an otherwise rudderless team? I don't really know and I don't really care, but he was here and he saw what it was like. Now, 10 years later, and 2 double-digit win seasons under his belt as the head coach of the Troy Trojans, Sumrall is back at Tulane. And Sumrall immediately can see what's changed with Tulane football in those 10 years. And he's got a transfer portal and he's not afraid to use it. And with that, the stage is set. The reboot begins now. Can Tulane football continue their improbable and unprecedented recent streak of success with an entirely new coaching staff and capitalize on their perfect timing by being the first group of 5 team to make the expanded college football playoffs? Or will they fall right back down to where they've been for decades upon decades? What do you think, John?
I'm telling you right now, I'm speaking into existence. We're going to make the college football playoff and we're going to win it.
1 semester later.
In the spring, I thought we sucked.
I love college football. Of course, before we truly begin, there's one last big difference between this year and the last that needs to be addressed. No more franchise quarterback for us. Michael Pratt has been drafted to the NFL. And in Pratt's vacancy, 2 men vied all spring into summer for Tulane's coveted QB1 spot. Ty Thompson, a former 5-star transfer from Oregon, and Kai Horton, the guy who's been here the whole time waiting his turn. And of course, when game 1 came to pass, Tulane's starting quarterback was revealed to be neither of them.
He's going deep. Williams has a step, and he's got it. And
this is Darian Mensah, redshirt freshman. He is pretty good at this.
4-man rush. He's got time. Firing over the middle, and he's got his man.
I'd definitely just say, don't be a fan later. It's going to be a fun ride this year.
He's pretty confident, too. Oh, and let's not forget, despite completely rebuilding it with transfers, we have a pretty damn good defense, too, who got their first pick 6 for Tulane since 2011, no less.
Picks off of the end zone. Rayshawn Pleasant off to the races down the sideline. He's in the open field. 40, 30, 20, 10. Nobody's going to get out.
that's fun. Tulane breezes to an early shutout win. Well, that score certainly helps assuage some of the fears.
Yeah, we shut them out, but we didn't really play great.
Well, okay then. I mean, fair enough. It was only FCS Southeastern after all. Now's where shit gets real. In this new playoff system where the 5 highest ranked conference champions in college football make the playoffs as a group of 5 team, each game isn't just about building wins, but building resumes. If Tulane wants to separate themselves from the pack, especially with their weak conference schedule to follow, they've got to win one of their next 2 games against Power 4 opponents. Home versus ranked Kansas State, then at ranked Oklahoma. Let's begin. Tulane played a pretty damn good game here, but they made 2 critical errors. We'll get to those when we get there, but for starters, Tulane couples a few massive plays on offense with a fantastic job keeping Wildcats quarterback Avery Johnson in check en route to a 20-10 lead going into the half. Although it could have been more if Tulane was able to upgrade one of those last 2 field goals to another touchdown. Oh well, you're still leading by 7 after holding Kansas State to their own field goal. Let's build this lead even more.
Another spin out move. Tripped up.
Okay, a sack. Well, I guess we're giving Kansas State the ball back with a chance to tie. It's fine. Our defense has been pretty stout all day, and we've got them on a 4th and 1. Just don't blow
Johnson
it here.
To throw for it. Lobs one down the sideline to get inside the wheel route. Touchdown.
And that was mistake number 1. Just a complete defensive blunder there has us in a tie game. But we've got a clap back of our own. A Darian Mensah to USC transfer Mario Williams connection. Yes, that's Mario Williams. Secretly a Tulane double agent this whole time, has the wave right back in striking distance, and they strike.
He's gonna look for that back right. Touchdown! Alex Bauman, the tight end!
But it looks like Avery Johnson and the Wildcats are itching to play a bit of touchdown ping pong themselves. They immediately respond with one of their own, and yet again we have a tie game. But no worries, Tulane's got the ball back in their hands, and although Kansas State has been incessantly blitzing all day, Mensah and company have been able to evade it all day too and create some magic in the process.
Losing the football is Mensah, and it's scooped up! Jack Fabris to the house!
And that was mistake number 2. Just a case of a young quarterback drinking a bit too much of his own Kool-Aid. Kansas State hadn't led since early in the first quarter, but now the game is completely flipped. Tulane had the pedal to the metal all day and yet have blinked and are suddenly in a hole, not helped by their next drive going nowhere. With only 5 minutes left in the game, they desperately need a stop from their defense if they want a chance to tie.
Avery Johnson sets up the screen. Tulane was ready for it.
And they get it. What a huge stop by RD. Now just 3 minutes left and down by 7, but with the ball. You want a real resume builder? Go down the field, tie this game, and let the chips fall where they may after. Which finds ourselves here. 4th and 6. No more wiggle room. What will Darian Mensah do?
Here comes the Kansas State blitz. Mensah on his horse, flag down. He spins inside the 5, flags everywhere.
There we go, still alive. Now all we need to do is punch this in and tie this game up.
They'll throw for it. End zone. And the front left pylon. Caught. Touchdown.
And they do. A flawless performance on that 2-minute drill against a ranked Power 4 team, no less. I mean, goddamn. Look at where Jon Sumrall already has this team in Game 2, tied with the number 17 team in the country, enduring 2 massive mistakes, yet still with so much room to improve and still alive in a game that can unequivocally move Tulane into front-runner status for the G5 College Football Playoff auto bid. Unless... I'm sorry to inform you that Tulane did not end up getting the football in the end zone after all. The refs did not allow it on that play, and then one incompletion later, Mensah forced a ball and throws a pick to seal it.
Into the end zone, and it's intercepted!
No resume builder for Tulane today, just absolute heartbreak instead. Just like last year against Ole Miss, Tulane had their chances and just biffed it. this time with help from the refs in tow. And I'm not even that upset about that call, because at the end of the day, you should undeniably be running either Mekhi Hughes or Ty Thompson on the 1 yard line instead of throwing it, so we kinda deserve that. You know which call I am upset about, however? Remember mistake number 1 that was a wide open touchdown for K-State? Did anyone notice this egregious uncalled hold on their offensive lineman, where if called correctly would have been an obvious punting situation with the chance for Tulane to go up 2 scores? If nothing else, this gut punch is worth a moment of reflection, a remembrance of who we are. Tulane is a non-power conference team and also a football team in New Orleans. That's a 1-2 whammy right there. No one is ever going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You have to take it without leaving a shred of uncertainty. And Tulane left a shred of uncertainty. But you know what? We have yet another chance. Tulane travels to Oklahoma heartbroken but enraged. And you know what? Oklahoma looked profoundly beatable in their last game, and you just know Jon Sumrall has been absolutely leaning into these guys for letting last week slip away. I don't usually get overconfident about sports. I mean, look at the teams I'm a fan of. But this is the most bullish I've ever been for a game where my team was a 2-touchdown dog. I said we needed one of these 2 games to get on the radar of the college football playoff. It's time to make like our logo and get angry, get smart, and get our first SEC win since 2003. Or we can spot Oklahoma 21 points to open the game. Wow, how considerate of us. We gave them a handicap. Let's just ignore the 4 straight disgusting drives we had on offense, plus a missed field goal on the 5th. While the vaunted 2024 Oklahoma offense said no one ever again, absolutely punched the wave in the mouth on the other end, huh? So, I mean, at least we put together one good drive at the very end there, and got a touchdown out of it. We can at least go into halftime with momentum.
I don't know that I've ever seen that. A line drive kick that goes under the crossbar.
Well, shit. But regardless, it's halftime, down 15. It seems Tulane started this game a little starstruck, which I guess is understandable. A young, transfer-heavy team with a new coach and easily the most hostile environment Tulane's been in since probably Ole Miss way back in 2021. Plus, did I forget to mention, there was a hurricane this week. But there's a reason we play 2 halves in this sport. Let's get back to playing Tulane football, baby. Oklahoma moves down the field again, but Tulane's defense keeps them out of the end zone. Field goal. Let's see if our offense has made any halftime adjustments.
Great catch made by Keith Brown. Pitch to Fleming, and he's got running room inside the 20.
That's more like it. Touchdown. And Tulane's D gets a stop on the other end, although the Wave can't take advantage on their next drive. Come on, guys, running on long yardage downs is clearly not working. Can we stop with it already? Oh well, defense, you got anything more in the tank for us?
Arnold throws a pick, it's intercepted at the 10 by Grubbs, and it's a touchdown. Tulane right back
yes.
in the game.
And the defense only gets more hyped up, forcing a 3-and-out just after that. Just like that, Tulane is only down 5 and has the ball. Okay, and they run it up the middle again to start the drive, get nothing, and then punt it right back. Luckily, the defense continues owning Jackson Arnold, and Tulane's offense once again has a chance to take the lead. Let's string a drive together, shall we? Preferably a really long one that ends in a touchdown. Guys, why are you throwing the ball on 3rd and 1?
Ball is picked up by Billy Bowman on the redirection.
Oh my god, did you learn nothing from last week? Why are we throwing it again when we only need 1 yard? That's the situation when you decide to go away from the run after running it all day in long yardage situations? Ugh. Ladies and gentlemen, Tulane may be the protagonists of this story, but they are also the villains. As Orange County rock legends Lit might say, they are their own worst enemy. I was so pissed after this game that I made a whole list of things Tulane did wrong. really even know to blame for this, man. It kind of was just everyone. Tulane clearly could have won this game, but tripped over themselves at every single turn, still found a way to come back anyways, and then just did it all over again. In their grand quest to build a resume, Tulane has not won both of their must-win games, which officially makes every game from here on out a must-win game to make the playoffs, and you'll need some help from around the group of 5 too, but at this point there's no use looking anywhere other than right in front of you, which goes from the top down too. One thing I didn't tell you about Jon Sumrall is he's gone 1-2 to start now every season he's been a head coach.
Look, I'm not going to sit around and mope. I've been 1-2 before. We got a lot of work to do to get where we need to go.
Because before we begin conference play, we've got one more sneakily huge game on our schedule. Now let me just say this off the bat, I love that we scheduled this game, and I love that ULL wasn't a total pushover either. They finally rebounded from Napier's leaving, had a great crowd even though the camera was pointed at the under construction side of their stadium the whole time, and hell, if we had held up our end of the bargain, maybe this game could have gotten more hype behind it as a massively important group of 5 showdown. But as it stood, it was just a matchup between the only 2 relevant Louisiana group of 5 teams and nothing more. Battle for the baby rat? At least battle for the season not being over before conference play begins. That may not be a narrative Sumrall and company would admit to publicly or privately for that matter, and hell, even if Tulane lost this game, they could certainly still run the table and win the conference, which is Sumrall's stated goal for this year after all. But if we want to hold on to any hope of making that tantalizing expanded playoffs I keep talking about, we've gotta win this game. Tulane straight up just mirrored what ULL did for most of the first half. Punt, long touchdown drive, long drive for a field goal, oh, and then this.
Throws it, it's intercepted. It's picked off by Jackson Chenchu, and he takes it in for the touchdown.
Well, that's certainly a nice way to break the stalemate. ULL gets a field goal before the half ends, but so far a pretty good showing here. We certainly haven't been giving our defense much rest, though. Our offense has only had 3 drives all day, but we do get the ball to start the second half at least.
Pleasant. Good space on Banderas, trying to track it down. He can. It's Rashad Pleasant. He is going to go the distance for the touchdown. 95 yards.
Hell yeah, that was sick. But now ULL gets the ball right back, and they score a touchdown. Then we score a touchdown. Then they score a touchdown. Then we score a touchdown. Then they score a touchdown. Then we get into the red zone but can't punch it in. Field goal, but that field goal still leaves it as a 1-possession game. But our defense has been on their heels all day and hasn't really been able to stop them all game, especially not this half. That needs to change right here, right now.
Waldridge, Perry, incomplete.
That's more like it. Look at that D-line getting to Waldridge. Now all we need to do is kick a field goal and go home happy. Okay then, take 2. Our defense has been on their heels all day and needs to stop them right here, right now.
It's up in the air, it's intercepted. Jalen Geiger, and that's going to do it.
Boy, this game is exactly what Tulane needed. Not a blowout, but showing that they do have the ability to win a close game. It's games like these that are foundational pieces to build upon as the season goes on. And that is our out-of-conference schedule, folks. Final tally, 2-2. Nothing incredible and a lot of pain in there, but still alive, still kicking, and still an entire slate of conference games ahead to dominate. But unfortunately, due to those 2 losses, we now no longer control our own destiny to make the college football playoffs. We will need chaos above us. We will need to become scoreboard watchers. So, let's make a list. If the season ended today, who in the group of 5 would be ahead of us in making the college football playoffs? Well, for starters, Boise State is obvious. They were this close to beating #1 Oregon and have won the rest of their games. UNLV has beaten both Houston and Kansas in their non-con slate. James Madison just embarrassed North Carolina this week 70-50. And oh yeah, Northern Illinois of all teams beat Notre Dame, and although they just lost to Buffalo, that win is gonna carry a lot of weight. Is that it? I think that's it for now. So there you go, Tulane. There's your competition. Now time to outshine them. Tulane comes home for the first time since 2 bloody-knuckled road battles and a hurricane to face a USF team who also has high hopes this season after a great first year for head coach Alex Golesh. But for Tulane, this first half was nothing like last week's. Tulane has 6 drives. They score on 5 of them. USF has 7 drives. They score on 1 of them, fumble twice, and punt the other 4. In the most dominant half of football Tulane's put up against a quality opponent in a long time, Tulane is up 31-7. Everything is going swimmingly. Okay, so what's the twist then, huh? Oh, nothing actually. I know, surprising for this team if you've watched my previous videos. Tulane scores 2 more touchdowns and only allows a field goal in the second half, completely embarrassing what we thought was one of our biggest competitors in our conference this season and kicking off AAC play well. That feels good. And Northern Illinois lost to NC State this week, so that's good too. How about we continue this momentum against a team that is no threat for competition? Welcome to UAB's pretty much brand new stadium that has more Tulane fans in it than UAB fans, and Tulane does not let off the gas one bit. 20 points in the first quarter, 17 points in the second quarter, 20 points in the third quarter, 14 points in the fourth quarter. Those of you math majors in the audience might realize that means we put up a 70 burger on this clown. Hey, Trent Dilfer, get your hands off of our coach, you poser. I mean, dude, we benched all our starters midway through the third quarter and still scored 27 points after that. This is exactly what Tulane needed to do after that 2-2 out-of-conference slate. The other way to resume build in this sport? Just obliterate every team you play. Even if those teams suck, heads will be turned, and you've got to turn those heads if you want to make the college football playoff. And not only that, UNLV lost a nail-biter to Syracuse, and James Madison just lost to Louisiana-Monroe. Boise State keeps building up their resume with a 62-20 drubbing of Utah State. But that's fine, as long as we just keep playing as lights out as we have. Okay, here's where the irony we were all expecting comes into play, because after a bye week, Tulane goes back home and completely lays an egg.
Y'all ready for this?
5 dropped passes, 1 by Mackay, 1 by Yolkeith, and 3 by Mario, 2 of which would have been for touchdowns that would have completely validated our feeling that we played much better than Rice. At least we got to see a no-look screen pass from Darian to Mackay for a touchdown. Yes, you did see that right, a no-look screen pass. But still, it's getting later this game, and we're only tied at 10 apiece, with 2 and 4 Rice, a coach that's about to be fired a week from now, Rice. God, and they're threatening to take the lead to begin the fourth.
Over the middle, intercepted! This one's gonna stand, it's Michael Robinson!
Now we need our offense to do something. If all our passes are just gonna keep getting dropped, what do we do? Just keep handing it off.
One side has a seam at the 35, jitterbugging his way down the middle of the field to the 45.
And it keeps working.
Using in the handoff, cuts up the middle, hooked around, stays on his feet as he keeps going to the 30 to the 25.
Man, and Hughes got spun around completely on this play and still somehow stayed upright. 7 plays, 70 yards, all runs, touchdown. But Rice immediately breaks off a huge play in response and is threatening to tie it up once again.
First try for Rice on 4th down today. 4-man rush over the middle. It is caught, dropped. Tulane forces the stop.
Hell yeah, D. Great stand. And now Tulane can run this game out.
Nope.
Or they go back to their offense being able to do nothing again. We're once again giving Rice the ball back.
Caught by Connors, loses the balls, he's hit, picked up by Howard, he's back to the end zone, it's a touchdown!
God. I'm never gonna run out of content for this channel, am I? Well, that certainly wasn't a win you'd call a resume builder, but it was a win nevertheless, something James Madison and Northern Illinois could not say about their past win. That puts James Madison directly on our level, and Northern Illinois below us with 3 L's. Boise State and UNLV still sit comfortably in front of us, though, but the good news is they play each other this week. We can keep an eye on that while we deal with the North Texas Mean Green. And oh, look at that, our receivers can catch passes again. Back on the wagon, baby. Big play after big play. Even a Ty Thompson rushing touchdown too. We're up 21-3. Keep your foot on the gas.
Morris throwing for the end zone. He's got a man. Touchdown.
Well, if I had a nickel for every time there was an uncalled hold on a long touchdown pass against us, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but you get the point. Luckily, we answer right back and then get the ball right back too. Let's try to make this a 4-possession game.
And it's intercepted.
Welp, North Texas touchdown. Tulane does tack on a field goal to end the half at least, and then after turning North Texas over on downs, Tulane scores another touchdown. Then North Texas answers right back. It's 37-24 with the ball, which is what I would have said if we hadn't turned it over on downs instead of kicking a field goal. Man, apart from a couple turnovers on downs, we haven't been able to stop North Texas the last 2 quarters. Are we about to blow this?
Under pressure and sacked. And did the football come out? Yes! Tulane football, once again, they get a takeaway.
Well, that answers my question quite nicely. Never mind. We did some stupid stuff to make the game seem close at the end, but it goes in the win column nevertheless. Our now 5th straight in a row after our painful start. So far, so good for conference play. Now we get to sit down and watch the Boise State UNLV game, which was an absolute bloodbath where Boise was just able to keep UNLV at arm's reach during the second half.
Sack number 6.
And UNLV would never get the ball back again.
Victory formation and the Broncos 6-1. Number
UNLV is also now on our level. Tulane has built themselves back to just 1 team away from the top spot in the group of 5 spot for the playoffs. Still need 1 more serving of help, but everything is lining up. We continue onward to Halloween. We've got ourselves a rowdy crowd, all decked out in costumes. Costumes? No, wait, did I just say costumes, dude? Here on Thursday night in Charlotte. So what does Jon Sumrall want to do? Bore the home crowd to death, baby! How does a 20-play, 11-minute long drive that only ends in a field goal sound? This game is the picture-perfect encapsulation of how 2024 Tulane wants to behave. Run the football and control time of possession. When it works like it did today, is it an enjoyable football game? Meh. But is it a winning football game? Yes. And that's all that matters. Want to see something that is enjoyable, though?
Max Brown to his left, turns back around. Someone on the sideline caught it, whichever. Oh, that was Sumrall. I got Jon Sumrall for a helmet sticker. He's not playing around.
For my money, that's the best moment of this season thus far. And yet another pick 6 this season for the Wave 2 for good measure. As I said, the committee doesn't respect wins, they respect domination. This was yet another dominating win for Tulane. We are still behind Boise State, though, who played an absolutely ass SDSU this week, and it showed. No improvement for us this time around. The scoreboard watching will continue. In the meantime, let's destroy Temple real fast.
One destroyed Temple later.
Good. Yet another massive margin of victory. God, Temple is terrible. Scoreboard watch? Oh, Boise's playing Nevada. Yeah, that's not gonna lead to any...
Oh, look at this! Ramsier off the flea flicker! Touchdown!
Dare we get our hopes up? They're tied to open the half. This wouldn't be just a loss, it would be a bad loss if Nevada can pull off this upset. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now Nevada bandwagoners. If you pull this off, we'll officially forgive you for embarrassing us in a 2020 Potato Bowl. Get it done for us, Wolfpack. Or Boise can go up 14 just like that. But Nevada is on the 1-yard line.
Oh, the ball's on the ground. Recovered by Boise State.
Well, there goes that, I guess. I mean, we're only paying this much attention to Boise State because we are just straight up obliterating our opponents, plus they are the only ranked team in the group of 5 after all. Which is what I would have said until... Number 25, baby. In college football, numbers have power. We've built ourselves back up from the brink, just like Sumrall said we would, just like he'd done his 2 seasons prior in Troy, and are getting recognized for our drastic improvement. Tulane is 8-2, ranked, and playing the most dominant football they've played all year. And just in time for our scariest opponent so far in conference play. I actually went to this game in person, although I scheduled a trip long before we knew how important this game would be. It's this simple. Whoever wins this game makes the AAC championship. If Tulane loses, we'll still have a slim chance to make it, but we will be handily out of the college football playoff discussion. This is a critical game against a very good Navy team in front of their biggest sellout crowd in Annapolis football history. They've struggled the last couple of games, though, and we're steaming down the tracks right at them. Show no mercy.
Across the middle, wide open, and the green wave on the move with Dante Fleming. Mensah directing traffic.
Run, move. There you go. Yeah. Let's go.
And the green wave strike first in Annapolis. Play action. Mensah has a man into Navy territory.
Go Mackay. Go Mackay. Wow. So good.
Horvath is crunched again. All afternoon for Mensah. Finally finds a man. Mensah to Hughes. And he got there for the touchdown. Woodson's going to be tackled way behind the line. Mensah, end zone, touchdown Bauman.
Woodson bootlegging right, and he loses the ball. There's a pileup for it at the 20, and Tulane has it.
Man, no mercy indeed. A 35-0 drubbing of a team that a lot of smart people really respected just a few weeks ago. Y'all, this wave is absolutely unstoppable at this point. No one wants to face Tulane, who has just made their conference championship for a third straight season, something that we should absolutely not take for granted given where this team has been in prior decades. But, most importantly for our loftiest of goals, it was such a beatdown that we move up 5 spots in the next college football playoff rankings announcement, and all of a sudden our scoreboard watching has expanded to not only Boise State in the Mountain West, but also the entire Big 12 too, a conference who's had an insanely down year. Despite how we've been treating it, in reality there is nothing stopping 2 Group of 5 teams in the playoff if they're both ranked higher than a Power 4 conference champ. Not to mention that San Jose State is beating Boise by 2 touchdowns right now? Holy shit, is this really gonna happen? Is Tulane gonna all of a sudden catapult everyone directly into the playoff driver's seats in one day?
Oh, the ball's loose! Boise State has it! Virgin Morgan caught it in the air! And the Broncos have a
What
huge
the
turnover.
fuck? Man, come on, San Jose State. Never mind. Boise does indeed pull out a win, but still, our options are expanding by the week. All we have to do is not let up. And we get one last bye week to rest up before our last regular season game. Will we get any scoreboard watching presents? As we cozy up to our TVs on this restful bye week, we are treated to Boise State playing awful all game against a terrible Wyoming team and finding themselves losing early 10-7. Come on now. This has to be it. Both offenses are just abhorrent today, but after being knotted at 10 for an entire quarter as the fourth quarter begins, Wyoming is actually driving. Is this really about to happen this time? This wouldn't just be a bad loss for Boise, this would crater them.
He was all over it both times. This is a little bit of a reverse pitch, and it's the Broncos.
They ended up only getting a field goal. That's not ideal, but fine. A lead is a lead. Wyoming, we Tulanians are now your biggest fans. Take our power. Can you hold on for just 9 more minutes?
Rocket!
Man, Genty is really good. Wyoming can do nothing of note after that. Despite a disgusting performance, Boise ekes out a win against Wyoming. They look terrible. But due to some other losses we were monitoring, most importantly a Big 12-based BYU, Tulane has nevertheless moved up 3 more spaces on our bye week to number 17 in the country. If we win out, all we need is a single loss from Boise State or Arizona State, either this week or in the conference championship, and the Tulane Green Wave will be in the first ever 12-team college football playoffs. And fuck, man, after the way this season started, that sounds too good to be true, right? Right? Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Tulane plays the only college football game today. Given how the year has played out and with what's on the line, their most important game of the entire season thus far, at home against Memphis. Always a formidable foe and probably the closest thing this conference has to a rivalry game given all the leaving recently. The AAC scheduled this matchup on this day on purpose, and it could have been perfect for them if not for the fact that Memphis was already out of AAC championship game contention. So, Despite Tulane having already gained a berth into the champ game, they need to survive this one against a Tigers team with nothing to lose. But you couldn't ask for a team with more momentum in all of college football than the Tulane Green Wave right now. All that's needed is to assert dominance for the 9th straight week. Let's do it. Memphis goes right down the field with a couple big plays to score an opening drive touchdown, but Tulane answers with a field goal drive and then immediately stops Memphis after that. And then a massive play to Keith to open up the next drive. Touchdown. Everything is going pretty damn well so far. And we've got them stopped on 3rd and 6 on their next drive too. Let's keep this momentum.
Open over the middle of the field. DeWosier makes one man miss. DeWosier get a score.
Well, that's not great. There were a couple big plays given up on that drive too. I mean, it's fine. Memphis is a good team, but so are we. Just stay the course.
Play fake. Flea flicker. Mensah right there down.
Guys, there was no need to get cute right there. This wasn't last year's SMU game. The offense was doing fine. Well, Memphis gets the ball back. Defense time to step up. Man, their skill guys are kind of tearing us up right now. Good job holding them to a field goal in the red zone at least. Only down by 7, and we have a chance to go 2 for 1 over halftime. Let's nail this 2-minute drill. Or we could give them the ball right back before half with a chance for them to go up 2 scores.
Big sack by Sam.
Hell yeah, defense. Great way to take momentum into halftime. As the first stressful game for Tulane since the Rice game 5 games ago, it makes sense that we as fans are feeling kind of shitty right now, but objectively speaking, this has been a great game for all the casuals tuning in. Save a couple stupid mistakes by Tulane, both teams have been on top of their game. Let's get back at it and tie this shit up.
Good job over the middle of the field.
Oh, fuck yeah! Oh.
Drops it. They're ruling it a completion and a fumble on the field. A.J. Watts has it, and he's got a convoy of Tigers. What a turn of events.
Well, isn't that a punch in the gut? What a turn of events indeed. Going from 15 yards away from a game-tying touchdown to Memphis threatening to go up by 2 scores again. You really can't even be mad at the team for that either. That's just a shit break. But as I've always said, we Tulanians are resilient.
On 3rd down, DeWosier breaks loose again. How about DeWosier?
And we're sure as hell gonna have to be now. 14-point deficit. The most Tulane's been losing by since the Oklahoma game 11 weeks ago, and only the 2nd time ever this season that Tulane's been losing by more than 10. Our only saving grace is there's a ton of time left in this game, but we are now in dire straits. We've been made so confident in this team's performance over conference play that we just assumed we'd cruise into the playoffs at this point. Assuming Boise lost one more time along the way, and suddenly we are fighting for our absolute lives, made worse by us immediately going 3 and out, and Memphis putting together a 16-play, nearly 9-minute long drive, kicking a field goal, and going up by now 17. Man, how did this happen? We were so sure of ourselves, dude. We were so confident we were putting in extra effort as fans into scoreboard watching, assuming we'd never find ourselves in the same positions as the K-State and Oklahoma games again. We spent so much time looking around us that we forgot about us. The game's not over, but as a fan, there is no hope to be found. As a player, though, luckily Memphis committed 2 obvious penalties this drive, and Tulane finds themselves in the end zone for the first time all half. 27-17. But we still need multiple stops on defense, something that we haven't been able to do all half. Okay, we didn't recover it, but we forced a 3 and out nevertheless. I mean, look, there's still tons of time left in this game. The chance to make the college football playoffs is not gone yet. It's not over.
Mensah looks downfield, takes a shot. Incomplete.
Damn, just missed, but Tulane is clearly trying to force the issue here. They want to kick Memphis in the jaw right now, and they want to try again.
They got Williams catches it.
Fuck yes! Mario Williams again! Our offense is so fucking talented, dude! What was I worried about? What were we worried about? This team has learned from their mistakes earlier in the year. All we said at the beginning of the year is we were happy with a chance to make the playoffs, and ladies and gentlemen, we still have it. Why are they stopping the play?
Do you really want to know?
After review, the ruling on the field stands. It was a catch and a fumble recovered by Memphis. It will be first down, Memphis at the 9-yard line.
What else is there to say? Our defense got yet another stop, though, but just 2 plays later, Mensah put his hand one too many times in the cookie jar. I mean, that was just a desperation attempt, dude. We still had time, but that heave confirmed that the Tulane team was finally feeling what the Tulane fans already had been, and we had all collectively agreed the writing was on the wall. Tulane had blown this game. They had blown their chance at the college football playoffs. They had lost to the 3 best teams they'd played this season. All of that winning, except when it mattered. Look, I know that seems reductive. Every game matters. That's how we got here in the first place, after all. But the 3 losses to Kansas State, Oklahoma, and Memphis were so frustrating because this team was so close. You could make an argument that if just a couple plays had fallen Tulane's way in those 3 games, we could be flat out undefeated right now. Instead, we're sitting here with 9 wins, yet still wondering where it all went wrong. Call it spoiled all you want, but missed opportunities are missed opportunities, man. And you never know how many opportunities you're gonna get in the new landscape of college football. Boise State won this week, as did UNLV, who had stayed in the mix this whole time, and with tonight's loss by Tulane, has finally re-jumped the wave. Those 2 will play each other in the Mountain West Championship for the right to make the first ever expanded college football playoff. But who cares anymore? We're out. That's what matters. Season over. Oh, wait. Would this game seem like a consolation prize? Maybe. After last week's gut punch of a loss where so much was at stake, anything would.
Very frustrating. Still love our team, love our guys. That doesn't change. And we're all hurting, they're hurting.
But Sumrall has been steadfast in his messaging all season. The playoffs would be icing on the cake. The conference championship is always the first goal.
Those 9 FBS conference championship games, we're one of 18 teams getting to play.
And here Tulane is playing for it in their 3rd straight season. And what's more interesting, for me at least, is seeing how this team adjusts under Sumrall. Up until last week, he had never lost a game outside of the month of September. How is he gonna deal with such a crushing blow when goals are still on the table? How will his team follow suit? We will find out against our nation's Army. And on our very first drive, we move it right down the field as usual. Army's tough D stops us from a touchdown, but at least we'll get some points out of... Well, that made absolutely no fucking sense, but whatever. The thing about Army this year has been, if you aren't powerful enough to stop their run game on offense, you are going to absolutely get driven into the ground. And that exact thing happens on the first drive. Okay, fine. At least our offense moves it down the field again, and gets stopped short of a touchdown again. 2nd time's a charm, field goal team.
But the kick is no good. Miss wide to the right.
Okay, so this game is gonna go like this then, huh?
Udo on 2nd and 5, first down and more. Udo might be gone. Races on, past the 40-yard line, inside the 30, inside
For
the 10.
fuck's sake. Okay, down by 14 now then, but tons of time left, and our offense has been doing well before the end zone. Just gotta keep putting ourselves in good position to win.
And he fumbled the ball.
Okay, fine, whatever. At least the D finally did something, getting a turnover on down. And now just like that, the half is almost over. Can we at least do something on offense before it ends? worst game since I've become a Tulane fan. No one was focused, no one was ready. An absolute embarrassment when we were hoping to see a positive reaction to a shit situation last week. I really don't know what else to say. There is just nothing good to be found here. No silver lining, no happy ending, just endless pain. Man, I mean, this was nothing like the losses before this one. Were we always this fraudulent? Or were we just not prepared enough? I mean, come on, y'all. What's the difference between us and Boise State? Why do they get to have all the fun? What's funny in that infuriating sort of way is I truly believe that the Tulane team we saw during the majority of conference play would have beaten Memphis and could have beaten a lot of other Power 4 teams in the country too. But that team was not the one that showed up when it counted, and therein lies the problem, does it not? Because really, what would have happened if we made the playoffs this year? Would we have played the way we played against the dregs of the American Conference? Or would we have played the way we played against Kansas State, Oklahoma, Memphis, Army, and now Florida? Flashes of brilliance, but woefully self-sabotaging? Sadly, I think we know the answer. This reboot of Tulane football has talent, that part is clear. They proved it while dominating most of this sorry conference. They have the foundation and they know how to coast. Now they need to learn how to win. But therein lies the problem with modern college football itself. This team is going to be drastically different next year. I mean, it's almost a fool's errand at this point to try and find through lines year to year between teams, especially in the group of 5. This isn't the NFL light as much as the powers that be would like it to be. Players and coaches are pretty much free agents at the end of every season. Half of Tulane's defense this year was transfers, and half of that defense is graduating now. Not to mention that Mekhi Hughes entered the transfer portal. Alex Bauman entered the transfer portal. Matthew Fobbs-White entered the transfer portal. Rayshawn Pleasant entered the transfer portal. Funny story, actually, when I was at the Navy game, I ended up sitting next to Darian Mensah's mom, of all people, and in between cheering for the team, I had to ask, why did Mensah choose Tulane of all places? Well, she laughed, smiled, and told me, Tulane chose us. 1 month later, Mensah was in the transfer portal too. At least Jon Sumrall is staying for another year. I've really liked what he's done with the team, but at the same time, let's not disrespect our own intelligence here. As much as I trust Sumrall to learn and grow from this painful season, there's just no way he's gonna still be here 5 years from now. Hell, there's a sizable chance he won't be here 6 months after I release this video, despite the contract extension he just signed. We've seen this movie before, and that realization is what magnifies the pain of the already excruciating losses. This is college football in 2024. Your chances are disturbingly finite. You cannot be cute and you cannot play it safe. Every year you have one chance and you need to take full advantage of it or you'll be left with the buzzards. The mustard buzzards. All this leads back to my question at the beginning of all this. What is Tulane football in the grand scheme of things? 9-5? Losing to the 5 best teams you played this year in a heartbreaking fashion, losing your starting QB, running back, tight end, defenseman to the transfer portal at the end of it all. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a group of 5 success story. This is what it looks like when you're succeeding. This is what you want. Your price for successful, exciting teams in the modern group of 5 is being forced to rebuild them from scratch every year, top to bottom. That's how it works now. Some might argue that's how it's always worked. The severity has just exponentially increased due to the double whammy of an unregulated transfer portal / NIL and accelerationist sports media. You can find a stray spool of year-to-year through lines here and there, but for the most part, there are no constants in college football anymore, except for one: the fans. The fans are the through line. The evolution of our support and expectations for this program is the binoculars from which we can analyze how this team has changed with the times. Lest we forget once again, for generations, Tulane football was one of the biggest failures in college football, with one of the most apathetic fan bases in all of college sports. Tulane chose us to carry the torches into this new era, and it's up to us now to keep us there, supporting them through thick and thin, while also continuing to hold them accountable to new goals. Now, what should these goals be is another question. Let's not shy away from this while we have this chance. Winning championships would be great. Making the college football playoffs would be great. But the absolute pinnacle that all aspects of Tulane should be striving for has to be having more TVs tuned into a Tulane game in New Orleans than in New York. I asked what's the difference between us and Boise State. Boise has a local base. They don't have to rely on their student section to show up to have any home crowd noise. That's the end game for Tulane. Not just winning, but building a brand locally to be recognized nationally. And that takes work on all sides. The players obviously playing well. The coaches calling games that casuals and locals would want to watch and not being scared to fail. The school not just funding the team, but reaching out to the community and building that base. There's things that can be done to attract the locals. I'd love to see a game where all students in New Orleans Parish get in free, for example. That'd be cool. And you know what else would be cool?
Getting us out of this fucking terrible conference so we actually play quality teams!
We need to actually be, not just say we are, NOLA's college football team. But at the end of the day, all these things are just words. Words of support, words of encouragement, words of heartbreak. Our job as fans is to spread those words by any means necessary. Make it so New Orleans can't ignore us. Make it so New Orleans wants to join us. Because y'all, if my last 3 videos don't prove this, I don't know what will. They don't know what they're missing out on.